Okay, so welcome to our party, and we've got a bunch of people on our Zoom call, so they're all live, and we've got lots of questions coming in. So we're just going to get started, just to help you understand just things in your body and how they're reacting. I know so many of us have gone into getting COVID. Our friends have gotten COVID. This isn't a COVID class, but it's just how do we understand our bodies from a health perspective. This is a wellness mapping party. So like, what is wellness mapping, right? We're going to get into that and just have some fun trying to understand how to, I think, like, get ourselves working better. Part of the issue for me, and we'll just do this quick intro here, but part of the issue for me is the fact that, like, it's mid-January, right? It's January 15th. And I have such good intentions at the beginning of the year, even before the beginning of the year. And it's so funny because I think a lot of us have gone to the, let's not start on January 1st, let's start around Christmas time. Let's start in early December. Like, let's get this party started sooner, because you know yourself, you know that it's like, okay, and then January 1st, I can kind of really be reactivated. And then, 2 weeks go by and we're all kind of like back in our slumps. So we're going to try and tackle the, how do we get through the ebb and flow of the months that go by, and the slumps and the highs and the lows. So I'm Jen O'Sullivan. I run a group on Facebook that you all should know about that are on here, the Human Body and Essential Oils. I've been recently more active in posting my videos to YouTube. What I noticed through the past 2 years of COVID was a lot of people got off social media. So it was interesting to me because I even got off social media for a good amount of time there. I just was not as active because it was just overwhelming. So not only with COVID, but like politics, and just, I feel like there's been a lot. And so now I feel like we're all maybe, we've kind of come to this resting point a little bit of, there's a little stability, but we're not sure if the rug's going to get pulled out from under us. So my goal has been always to just teach. I love teaching. I think some of you guys know that. You know that I love educating. But my also goal is to help you be transformed. And I feel like that voice of doing better and getting well has been flatlined because no one's listening. I think people are overwhelmed and tired. So it has been interesting to see, even just in the last week, people perking up. And I've been like, okay, I'm going to get on. I'm going to post more frequently. I'm going to try and kind of wake up some people. And because I'm starting to wake up, if that makes sense. And it's an interesting thing of just seeing some of you be like, yeah, I'm ready. And if you are, I would love you guys to even just in the comments here, if you're watching this as a replay, in the comments, put that you're ready. I think that we need to tell ourselves that. I need to tell myself, like, I'm ready to have clarity. And that's my word for the year. And I know we kind of have these words, right? It's interesting to me when I pull out different journals of mine and even Bibles. For some reason, every year I grab a different Bible and go through that. And I look at the past markings in that Bible. And it's interesting to me to see some of the different year ofs. I always have it's the year of. And sadly, the last couple of years, I stopped doing that. And so it was interesting to see previous years prior to COVID, those words were really integral and important in how the world around me was shaped. I didn't even really pay attention to that word much after January, but to see, like, for instance, I think it was 2006 or 2007. So January 2007, I put that it was the year of growth, right? And I looked back on that year to see, and I'm like, that's when I had my kid. Like, I actually got pregnant that year, not planning on that. This was a weird, like, thing we decided to figure out in April, and then we gave birth in December. So it was like, wow, that really did happen, And then 2013, I remember, super interesting. I put the year of like regeneration. Again, I don't know why I chose that word, but that was the year I got saved. Like super weird, so it's interesting to me. I don't know what this year has for me, but I put the year of clarity for me. That word just kind of kept popping in my mind at the end of the year. So I'm curious what your word is for this year. So you can comment down below in the comment section, those of you guys who know how to work on this stuff and whatnot. But I love that. Freedom, intentional, good stuff. I love those words. Those are good. I started making those Morse code bracelets and necklaces for myself. And I was like, oh, free, that's a good one, like free, or even freedom, that would be good. I was wearing one just recently. Yesterday, I was wearing one that said Jesus, and then I had another one that says peace. And I'm like, oh, I like that one. But I changed it out today to my leaves. So I'm wearing leaf. I thought I'd dress up a little bit for you today because it's a party. I love that. So year of health, finisher. That's an interesting word. You want to finish things, I'm sure. You want to be a finisher. I said me, transformation, self-healing. I love that. Joy, that's a good word too. I think in Morse code, joy has a lot of dashes, right? Change, good stuff. I love you. I love your words. You guys are doing great. Faith, acceptance, recharge, growth. Maggie, you have a lot of words. Trust, that's good. And I think trying to pick one word, because my mind can't focus on all of those. I can't think, well, of course I want this and that and this. I have all these things that I want to work on my character, but if I can think of one word and really kind of hone in on that, and then I usually think about a verse, like a memory verse for the year. And I remember I do that throughout the years. I remember last year was basically follow after God and your paths will be straight type of thing. So it's just how am I really paying attention to giving everything to God so that he will make my path straight. And this year it's seeking after him. So seek first God, like the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all of the things will be added to you. And again, it's based on him, right? So that's me. That's where I come from. And I think some of you guys are well aware that Jesus comes out of me a lot. So I see hope, stress-free. So we want to eliminate words that are negative. So stress-free would be a word that we would get rid of. So I want you to eliminate those words and think, what is a positive word for stress-free? So maybe that's peace. Maybe you want to find peace. So like we don't use the term financial freedom, or we use the term financial freedom, we don't say debt free. So you want to use the positive word or not the negative word. So I'm just giving you a little bit of there because I like it. Yes, of course, stress free, but get rid of the word stress. So maybe think of a different word. And so Marge, I'd like you to come up with something that you think would be a better way to express that. And that was my necklace yesterday I was wearing, said peace. So that was a good thing. I thought, yeah, I think we all need a lot of peace right now. So believe, very good. Adventure, fun, hope, good stuff. All right, thanks for sharing, everyone. And it's something that I encourage you to write about, write down, journal. Some of you know I'm a big journaler, and I have gobs and gobs of journals that are written in, and I go through seasons of journaling, and then I stop journaling. And I was like, I'm going to start journaling again. And I started for week 1 and then stopped for week 2. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to grab a blank journal that is not structured, because part of my world needs to be structured and I need to learn how to kind of let go of that. So I grabbed really a blank journal and I started just journaling. So I pray. And so I pray until I'm done and then I stop. Whereas in my prayer journals, it's a set amount of space that I have, and really you can't go on to another page because it's the next day. So I'm like, I can pray for as many pages or as little as I need to. So yesterday I prayed for two pages. Today it was kind of a half a page, and that was because of life, right? I was praying and writing down in my journal, and my son came down and was like, I'm hungry. Okay, so let's make you breakfast, and maybe I'll go back and revisit it this afternoon, and I think that's something that I'm learning to be more flexible in my timing. I have a 14-year-old. I don't know how many of you have young kids, but I find that the older they're getting, and I've heard this for years, the more they require. And you think, well, they're self whatever, but they're not. Like he's 14 and he's someone who is still dependent, right? But is learning about life things now. So they're just deeper discussions. They're deeper things that require more of my attention. Whereas before it was easier things, so it's an interesting thing for sure. I love it. Deb says, I'm in the notebook queen. I just started going through them yesterday. Yeah, we had a conversation online about that. And somebody said, oh, I don't want to read my journal entries because they're like, that's in the past. I get that. But it's interesting for me when I go back and read through past entries. I'll even do it with Jacob. I'll sit down and say, hey, want to listen to some past entries? So I'll read them out loud. And it's eye-opening to me, where I say, wow, for a long time, I'm praying about the same thing. I'm asking forgiveness about the same thing, the same problems in my life, and I'm not changing. What is the problem, right? Like, you can't just keep saying sorry to someone and not actually make a change, because then it's not like it's not real. You're not actually interested in being sorry, because you keep doing the same thing over and over again. And one of my struggles is just my attitude. Honestly, it's just my bad attitude. I get frustrated. Even last night, I had a great day yesterday. Everything went really well. And then and at the end of the day, people were not making decisions. When I say people, I mean my husband and my son, about food. My son had fallen asleep on the couch. My husband fell asleep on the other couch in the other room. And it got to a point of like not wanting to, I'm like, well, I'm going to eat something. And we already went to a really nice lunch. We'd gone out to lunch yesterday. Somebody's unmuted. Sorry, I hear a lot of background noise. I'm trying to mute all, but somebody's not able to be muted. Okay, sorry. It's always a thing with me, you guys. So it was an interesting thing, though, because we had a very large kind of later lunch. So they kind of weren't hungry and fell asleep on the couch. And then it was about 8 o'clock, and they're asking me to make dinner, and I said, well, here's your options. And they're like, "Ma," and I'm like, well, I'm not making anything. Like, go to Del Taco or wherever you want to go, if And so I was trying to explain to my husband, like, I don't, it's not fun for me to cook this late at night when you're not interested in what I'm cooking. Like, when I know you'll eat it and you'll be okay with it, but it will be a meh, so no thanks. So it was this little battle of like, I don't even know if he ended up eating. I was like, well, if you want to go get something, or you know what you can make here for yourself. But at this point, it was a little bit of an attitude from him and from me. And I'm like, that's a problem. Like, why do I do that? Why do I not just have a normal conversation with him, then get into the whole, like, well, you're unappreciative, I mean, how many of us wives do that to our husbands? And then we, get into this kind of fight. And I think, the problem was I ate by myself. I was hungry. They were sleeping on the couch. So I ate something, which meant I wasn't hungry anymore. So you can fend for yourself. So that was a little selfish on my part. So that's where, from a health perspective, I think about the stressors that damage our health more than anything. The things in our world that we might be depressed about, resentful about, complaining about, those kind of things that we want to turn around and make changes. So back to the journaling, it becomes this issue of, if you're getting through the journaling and not going back, you can't see where you're making mistakes. I think I'm perfect all the time. And then I go back and I'm like, whoa, I'm messing up a lot. So I encourage you guys to journal and start that process, and then go back maybe monthly and read through them and just see, where are some holes that I can tighten up and kind of figure out a little bit more. So that being said, I want to get into a lot of your questions as well, but want to share with you just kind of how we can do a test together, how I can help you with understanding things a little bit better when it comes to wellness mapping, like what is wellness mapping. And so I have this funny little kind of party test, if you will, that is a way for us to kind of go over several items and for you to determine which things you may need or may not need as far as supplements are concerned. A question before we got started here earlier was, before we started recording it, was about like, why would we trust this information? Who came up with this? How would you know that certain things might be better for, say, anxiety or stress? Or how would you possibly know that anything could be better for something else? Like if you have high cholesterol or diabetes or have immune system problems, how do we trust the supplements you're telling us, right? It doesn't really compute. Well, I encourage you to go to mywellmap.com. And when you go to mywellmap.com, you're going to sign in, create an account. It's a free account. You can take the trial supplement test, which is super fun and has a ton of information. So that's actually what we're going to do here. And I want to walk you through some of the things to help you understand how we kind of got started on this and how you can trust this. And then I want to get into your questions. So I'm going to ask you if you have the potential to be on this video and also have another screen up. I'm going to share with you the screen so that you can see it as well. Let's get that up real quick. And so you can just watch me walk through it, or you can walk through it yourself. But this is a really fun thing to be able to do with people. So that's part of the party aspect of this is technically people could just go to the site and get on their phone and you can walk them through it. You can do this on Zoom like we're doing here. You can do it in a class like at your house, or you can do it one-on-one and just get on the phone with somebody and walk them through. So I'm drinking a modified Mineral Magic and that has mineral essence in it along with the tangerine mint YL Vitality Plus Energy drops and some lime essential oil. It's really good. And that was a recipe, excuse me, Patty came up with the original recipe and she told us about the modification and it is really good. So I'm excited about that. Okay, so you would register and then sign in. And technically you don't have to register or sign in if you take the trial test. So if you drop down here, there's the full assessment and the trial assessment. If you click the full assessment, access that, it's going to have you either purchase it or have a token, excuse me. The token access is only for people who have pre-purchased tokens. So that's the full test. But if we go back here and just go to the trial assessment, all you have to do is enter your email. So that's all we're going to do. And that's something that is an important thing to read here. So once you get into there, don't just hit agree, read it. So this is where the question came up. This test was not developed by a doctor. It has not been evaluated by the FDA and is not intended to diagnose, treat, or help cure any disease, illness, or health concern. Okay, so, but here's the answer to the question of where is this information from? The recommendations are to help support a healthy lifestyle based on research for what is most commonly used by those with a specific health concern. Okay, and it goes into more detail on that as you move forward, but every person is different. So what works for one person may not work for another. It's important to listen to your body and be your own best advocate. And so then it does recommend that you get a physical and blood panel from your doctor to find out a baseline, but you don't have to do that. Okay, so just know that it's a fun way to do this, because if you take the full test and you're able to get a blood panel done, then take the test, then start regimens that you want to consider and do that for 4 months. And then you would go and back to your doctor and do another blood panel and see how you're doing. So that's a fun way to do it. And then also it talks about synthetic-based prescription medications. You want to think about anything you're taking that is synthetic-based, which is like 99.9% of all pharmaceuticals are synthetic-based, within a 4-hour window from your natural supplements. So, and any essential oils that you might be internally taking. So that's something to just consider, that the synthetic prescriptions and natural supplements, they don't play well together. So that's why you hear a lot of people saying, hey, don't be on this and this at the same time. Oftentimes they're doubling up and other times they're fighting each other. So that's part of it. So anyhow, you would just agree. And then the trial test covers the top 10 things people are curious about. So if you're overly stressed and get anxious often, you would hit yes. Do you get sad often, have depression, or have heightened emotional cycles? So you might think those are similar, but they're not, because some people are stressed out and have anxiety, whereas other people have really high and low emotions. They'll have really sad, hard times multiple times during the day. So, if you're just sad every once in a while, then that could be a cycle thing, which is fine. But if it's daily, then you might check yes to that. Do you need more energy during the day? Are you looking for a natural facial skin smoothing regimen to help lessen wrinkles? I think most of us would say yes to that. Would you like to improve your gut health and microbiome? And you might not know what some of these mean, so you could easily highlight the word and copy it and look it up and see kind of, well, what is she actually asking there? In the full test, it talks about specific conditions like autism, like cholesterol, diabetes, those kind of things. If you don't know the answer to a question, it makes no sense for you to say yes, right? You think, well, I might have high cholesterol, but I don't know. Just don't answer yes. You can't go on a protocol if you don't know for sure. So that's why partially getting going to your doctor and knowing what's going on in your body is a good thing. For all of us. Okay. Do you want your hair to grow healthier? Do you seem to get common illnesses such as colds, flu, sinus infections, sore throats more than 3 times a year? So are you having a cycle of illnesses all the time? Do you have, and some people might answer immune health because of what's going on right now. They just want to strengthen their immune system. So feel free to answer yes to that. I can't really put any specific questions on here for COVID, but just so you know, that's your immune system. Do you have stiff, painful, or achy joints? Oh, and to back up on COVID, just a little side note, there is some research out right now talking about it being an allergic reaction in the lungs. So that's a very curious thing and very interesting. Day 8 gets worse, and that's where you start feeling it in your lungs. And that is something that you need to take like an antihistamine. So that's been what has been the most recent news. So very interesting. Little side note. Okay, do you have a hard time falling asleep? And are you wanting to reduce your overall body size or weight? And notice how I didn't say, do you need help with weight loss? I said weight reduction. We want to reduce weight, right? Okay, submit. Okay, so just so you're aware, this test then tells you what wellness mapping is. So a test includes the most popular questions from our full assessment. So this test, the trial test, the full assessment has over 60 questions for a more complete health map, along with full digestive enzyme matching test. So by taking that wellness mapping test, you'll be able to map out your personal wellness regimen. I want you to realize, though, that it's a starting point for your overall health and wellness. It uses natural supplements and lifestyle changes. So it was, and this is the key sentence here, it was developed by taking into consideration the latest documentation and research on natural vitamins, minerals, and herbs, along with lifestyle modifications that are noted to help support various areas of system function and emotional health. Okay, so this is just an important sentence there for some of you. And so it's going to help give you a clear direction. It's going to help empower you to make decisions on what you should be using and doing. And I encourage you to take the full test. So, but what's nice about this is the test you could take in a party situation. It's just the trial one. So again, this goes back into that disclaimer, and then the baseline physical and the prescription medications. All right. So when you take the full test, you're going to be able to manage your stock. You're going to be able to put in what you're currently taking. You're going to be able to have a schedule based on what you're currently taking. You're going to be able to create a custom schedule. It's very cool. So just know that. But when you get down into here, in the full test, there's a section that says your answer details, which will be called protocols. What we're doing is wanting to match it to the book. And the book itself, the supplements desk reference, will have all of this wellness mapping in the book as well. Yay, we're super excited about that. That'll be the 3rd edition, hopefully coming out at the end of this month. And just know that the the answer details that will say protocols is like the main place you want to look. So I know it's fun to kind of organize your supplements and figure out what you're taking and when you're supposed to be taking them. And that's a huge part as well. But it's best if you go into the actual answer details. So here's why I'm going to help you with this. This is the fun. So if any of you answered anxiety and stress, It's going to tell you a set of primary supplements, and they are listed in order from most important to least important. So basically, if you were on a limited budget and you thought, well, what's the most important one for anxiety and stress? It's KidSense Unwind, and you may not have even known that. This is for adults as well, and it's excellent. It's an excellent supplement that if you don't have the supplements desk reference, you can, if you have that, you can go and look up what that's for and why, and it will make perfect sense to you when you read about the ingredients and what they do. The next most important one would be CBD by Nature's Ultra. And then again, you can go down the list and decide, well, oh yeah, I'm taking Super B. I'm taking Super D, but I keep forgetting, so maybe I should take that, right? So it's like that's how you can start looking at these and prioritizing. So secondary ones are down here, and then it's going to give you essential oils, and sometimes it lists them in primary and secondary. For this one, it's listing a primary set of oils based on, again, most important to least important, and then secondary here is, this is the only one that has a specific hormone section. So if you think your stress is related to hormones, that's what that one is for, and it does tell you that in the essential oil in the notes section. The other thing though that I want you to really pay attention to is if you are having stress and anxiety, and let's say we went ahead and did KidSense Unwind, maybe got some CBD oil, started with stress away. So we're going to check that one and say those are the ones I want. Maybe it's hormonal. Like, again, you got to think about yourself. I don't know you personally, and you do. So you have to think, is my stress hormonal? Am I going through hormonal changes right now? Then I would try Endoflex, would be your very first oil to try if it's hormonal stress. And then I would look down at some usage suggestions here, and it's telling me put stress away on my wrist daily. That's great. It's telling me some other things I can try. For the hormonal stress, that again would be unlocked if you took the full assessment. And then imprinting with essential oils, there's a whole area there that teaches you how to imprint, which is really cool in the full assessment. But lifestyle considerations, I really want you guys to consider these. I mean, this is researched lifestyle considerations that is known to help in each of these areas. And some of them say the same thing, because a lot of times it's the same thing of like, drink more water, eat better, things, and if you kind of popped up into the top, when you're at your actual test, even in this one, it gives you the top 8 specific lifestyle considerations that you should all be looking at all the time. Like, get more sleep, walk 10 to 15 minutes per day, drink more water, lessen your stress, do something that makes you laugh, right? Take media vacations, eat more dark leafy greens, avoid or limit processed foods, processed sugar, like alcohol, dairy, gluten. Those are the big 5, pretty much: processed food, processed sugar, alcohol, dairy, and gluten. Avoid or limit caffeine and carbonated drinks, like coffee, stuff like that. Avoid your exposure to synthetic fragrance and chemicals found in your home, personal care products, and cleaning supplies. So those are the top 8. When you get down into your protocol specific sections, so for anxiety and stress, it's going to have potentially some different things here. So this says schedule in some solid alone time, go on a walk, pray, journal, or just take a nap. Do this once a day and keep that space sacred to only you. Get some sunshine on your body daily if possible. I know that's hard for some of you right now specifically, but if the sun pops out, run outside if you can, and try and, pick up your jacket and be freezing for a minute, but get some sun on your lower back. That's one of the best places to get some vitamin D into your body from the sun. Try taking a walk in the grass, dirt, or sand barefoot, or snow. I know some of you are like, we're not going barefoot right now. But when that happens, when the sunshine starts coming out, we all start feeling a little better, and you got to get your hands in the dirt. So maybe you have a garden inside, and get your hands in some dirt and do some gardening inside. And that would be totally great to do. Eat foods that help lower stress: Brazil nuts, pumpkin seed, dark chocolate, foods high in omega-3s like avocado, flaxseed, walnuts, fatty fish, that kind of thing. So those would be some considerations. Now, if you answer depression and emotions, right, then it's giving you some different things. And it's saying super vitamin D is probably one of the most important things if you're experiencing depression. Also gut health. That's why I have Kid Sense Mighty Pro in here. Now you might say, hey, Jen, isn't Life 9 the adult version of Mighty Pro, of probiotics? It is, but I want to give you a little kind of helpful tip here on this. Mighty Pro is a more advanced delivery method of probiotics, and you can't mess it up as easily. You can definitely mess up Life 9. If you open the bottle and leave it out and don't put it in the refrigerator right away, you're going to kill those little beautiful gut bacteria that are in there. So those probiotics will be dead. You got to have it in the refrigerator. You also have to take it a couple hours after dinner, and you can't take it really with anything else. Specifically, you can't take it with anything that contains essential oils in it, because those could be damaged in that process. And because it needs to be in the refrigerator, and this is specifically why this protocol has Kid Sense Mighty Pro. Some of them will say Life 9, but this one, because people that are dealing with depression and heightened emotions, and they get very tired by the end of the day. There's this kind of lethargic, I don't want to do life anymore at the end of the day. It's just, I just need to go to sleep. Or they'll drink some alcohol, right? They'll do something that will kind of take the edge off. That's common with people that are dealing with depression. And it's important to note that they will forget. They will forget to take certain supplements at night. They might already be in their bed, and to go to the refrigerator to get their Life 9, they'll forget. And so it's an easy time of day that after dinner, before bedtime, it's a funky time for people that have emotional health issues, that are dealing with heightened senses of sadness and things like that, to process a lot during that time of the day. So that is why Kid Sense Mighty Pro is put in here, because you take it in the morning with breakfast and you got it good. And it's a big one, and it's an important one. Gut health is very important when it comes to your moods. Same with Omega Gize 3. So I might even go as these would be really good top 3. So that's an important thing to do. Now, as a side note, and this is another side note, what I love about this is it's telling any human being who takes this test what these are. So super vitamin D is a vegan D3 from lichen. Kid Sense Mighty Pro is probiotics and prebiotics. Omega Gize is omegas and vitamin D3 and coenzyme Q10. So somebody who maybe isn't using Young Living, who wants to learn about what supplements they should be taking, this tells them you need a D vitamin, you need a probiotic and a prebiotic, and you need an omega and maybe a coenzyme Q10 if you are dealing with depression and emotions. So that's an interesting thing, because it's kind of a gateway. It can help people understand why these supplements were selected for this. But then it's up to you and me and everyone out there that educates, to educate people on why. Why is vegan D3 from lichen better, more bioavailable, better for you? We need to educate on that, because it is better and it is more bioavailable. Why is Kid Sense Mighty Pro more readily available to your system, and why is the delivery system better? So that's all things that you can learn in other classes of mine, but that's kind of the beauty of this, is showing someone who's maybe taking supplements that are subpar, right? Costco or wherever they're getting their big mega bottles of supplements. Most of that is just being urinated and defecated out. They're not getting, their body's not utilizing it. And why is that? And so we go into some of that training as well to help them understand this is more bioavailable, and that's what you want to do. So primary essential oils, stress away, lavender. So those came up again on this one. This talks about imprinting with essential oils, which is really important to consider. And then it gives you some more things to do here. So things that you might need to consider avoiding. People that are dealing with depression, it's a big deal to get them off of coffee, get them off processed food, get them out, get that synthetic stuff out of their home. Usually they need to get more sleep. Sometimes they're sleeping too much, but it's not good sleep. So you could then decide, right? So if we were walking through this, I need more energy. You could say, well, that was important, depression, but then the sleep one, right? You could then drop all the way down to sleep health, getting more sleep. And that might be the other one they want to focus on. So the goal here is, once you see all the results and kind of figure out which one you want, you would actually look at You might have answered yes to 5 of those, and you'll get the results for those 5, but you might want to go into, and it would be better for you to go into the protocols themselves and look at them specifically. So sleep support. Okay, well, I'm having a hard time getting good quality sleep, so it might be something where I need more zinc. It might also be something where you're needing more minerals. So that's where you can start looking at things here. Why are these listed? Super Cal Plus, Mineral Essence, those are minerals. Same with ImmuPro, there's minerals in there that are super important. Some people have what's called advanced brain, where their brain doesn't shut off and they're having a really hard time because their brain is constantly on. And that's where Unwind comes into play. And you can take both of these together, ImmuPro and KidSense Unwind. You can even take CBD at the same time. You can take Mineral Essence in the daytime and Super Cal Plus in the daytime. You just wouldn't want to take Sleep Essence and ImmuPro. So you do one or the other. Okay, so some places have Sleep Essence in certain parts of the world. Here, some people have ImmuPro. Some people have both, but you don't take both. So just so you're aware. And the reason for that is they are both melatonin. They both have melatonin in it, and sometimes too much melatonin can cause sleeplessness. So that's not good. So it gives you some oils to consider, oil suggestions to do. There's the drop of lavender in your belly button before bed. I do that every night. It helps tremendously keep me asleep. So sometimes falling asleep is not the issue, it's staying asleep. Some of you are waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. When I don't do this, I wake up. This will even help me not get up and have to go to the bathroom. It's super weird, but this you have to do all the time, and you have to clean out your belly button the first time you do this. Otherwise, you might have World War III going on in your belly button. So just because you have a lot of synthetic buildup, and remember, essential oils attack synthetics. So this will give you some lifestyle considerations as well. But again, that's where I'm telling you guys when you're looking at this. So all of you should have taken the test, meaning the trial test. And all of you can go in and say, all right, well, I really want to tackle sleep right now. And I do recommend that you might just tackle 1 or 2 things. And you don't have to do all of the supplements that are recommended, but think about the top 2 and pick 2 or 3 categories, maybe max, and go from there. So that allows you to customize this whole process. And when you go into the full wellness mapping results, so if I were to sign in and if I took my test, if I've taken the tests at all, I will be able to go under questionnaire history and look at the results from that. It's always going to ask me to agree to the disclaimers again, but it's going to give you a top matching supplements, which is an algorithm based on what you've answered. But it's better for you just to go under answers. And again, this will be changed to protocols, because I want you to say, like, I need bone support. So I should go in here and say, I really do need to up my Super Cal Plus game. And I need to make sure I'm drinking Mineral Essence, right? And I say drinking because it's liquid. I'm drinking it right now. Mineral Essence tastes terrible, but in this drink, it tastes fantastic. So that's part of the process there. So I'm just doing 1 dropper of Mineral Essence on top of ice, and then putting a squirt of YL Vitality Drops Plus Energy, which has some electrolytes and other good stuff in it, and a few drops of either tangerine or lime vitality. And then I'm filling it with water, and it's fantastic. And some of you say, well, Jen, isn't the recommended dosing of Mineral Essence 5 half droppers? That's true. But studies have now shown that taking less over time is better than taking it all at once. If you take a bunch of magnesium all at once, it could cause diarrhea. It will actually go right through you as opposed to get into you. So it's less bioavailable if you take more. So it's actually a better regimen if I'm just drinking this drink a couple times, maybe 3 times during the day. And then if I want to get more minerals in my body, I might take Mineral Essence and rub it on the bottom of my feet before bed, which sounds a little weird to some of you, but that's a good delivery system for minerals. Put some socks on though, because there's some other things in there that might get messy in your bed. And I know some people rub it on their chest and put it in their bath, totally fine too. I don't want to waste the deliciousness of some of the other things in Mineral Essence by just rubbing it on my body all the time, but I think it's valid to consider if you're going through the day and using it a little bit differently as opposed to all at once. So putting all those half droppers into 5 capsules, which we used to always recommend, you're getting too much all at once, and it might go right through you. So just pay attention to your body. And if you're not having any soft stool after you take mineral essence, you're fine. But if your stool is softer than normal after you take mineral essence, you got to pay attention to this stuff. So hopefully that is helpful to you all. But it's going to go over, see, even dental, like what do you do if you've got cavities or gum disease? I think, let me see, one of you asked a question about, let me go back to see if I can find, because I know you guys on the chat, somebody asked a question. One of you asked a question about a specific thing. I don't know if you can answer, or if you can go back to that and I can, oh, there's the chat. I can find the chat. Let me see where that question was. I think it was like, what do you take if you have this? High blood pressure. So, and I don't know that I answered that question on my test because I don't have high blood pressure. So let me go back and see. But that's where you could go in and you would get that answer. You would get that answer. So I'm going to go back to my profile, go back to question history. And I think on December 1st, I just answered all the questions yes, so I could have all the answers. Where is it? December 1st. And you can print these results out. The little check boxes would print out. So it's just a way for you to kind of track what you're doing. A really great idea was to print out your schedule and put it, laminate it, and then use a dry erase board so that on your fridge, so you can kind of mark off what you've taken each day so that you remember. But let's see, find, and I can do, and on your, when you're doing your test, you can just do a find on the computer and it will drop down to whatever you're trying to get to real quick. But this would be blood pressure, mineral essence would be the most important, Super Cal Plus would be second most important. So that's the things that I would say. Omega is super important, getting some enzymes, but specifically essential enzymes 4. Again, each of the enzymes were kind of pulled apart, deconstructed, and looked at all the ingredients so that it would answer best what's best for certain things. Like essential zyme is best for people with diabetes, people with blood pressure issues. Essential zymes 4 is best, right? So it's you know, how to know what to use when. So that is going to give you all the things. Essential oils, primary ylang ylang would be the first choice, marjoram second choice, helichrysum third choice. So they're in order, they're not in alphabetical order, they're in order of what you might be doing. And, you know, like you would apply ylang ylang or marjoram to your left wrist on the inside of your arm, up your shoulder, like, and up over your heart. So that's kind of a specific bloodline to your heart. And then it gives you lifestyle considerations, like obviously limit your sodium intake. You've got to track that. It needs to be 150 milligrams per day. Eat more vegetables high in potassium, like cooked spinach or broccoli. Exercise regularly, and try and lower your stress. It gives some general notes here. I will call out things that you might want to avoid. It says avoid YL Vitality Drops Plus Energy because of guarana extract. So there is some evidence online in different studies to suggest that guarana extract isn't great for people that have high blood pressure. So just note that. However, on the mineral essence side, because this question comes up a lot, isn't there sodium in there? Aren't we? Well, there's only 10 milligrams of sodium per serving, and so it's absolutely safe to use, and you need those minerals. So it's listed as the top supplement to use, and people think, wait a minute, right? So I'm just helping you answer that question. Okay, so I'm going to stop this. Oh, let me go over this real quick. So I want to show you something really fun. So it will give you a suggested schedule based on all of your algorithm answers. It will also give you your current schedule. So if you are, some of you on here are brand new to Young Living and don't have any supplements. So you wouldn't have answered anything there because you're not taking any of our supplements. So you wouldn't have a current schedule. You would have a suggested schedule, but then you'll have this custom schedule. And the custom schedule will give you the things you already are taking and the things that we're suggesting. So the things that are checkboxed are the things I'm already taking on a daily basis. But it's telling me in order of what was the most important to the least important things I should be considering. I don't take Super B on a daily basis. I took it today, but I'm not regular with it. And it's saying it's like my most important one based on the questions I answered as far as underneath things you read. So I should be taking that. Same with Super Vitamin D. I kind of ebb and flow. So I have to consider, maybe I want to get back on these and make sure that I'm good with these. So I'm going to just get those. The other things I take are good. And then I'm going to generate this. And it's going to generate a personal schedule for me based on when I'm supposed to be taking these. And I want you to be really clear about this. And this is important to note. There will be things that won't make sense to you. You'll see CardioGize says take 1 capsule, and but the bottle says take 2. I know. Drop down to lunch. Oh, there's your 2nd capsule. Same with like Super B. Take 1 tablet at breakfast, take the 2nd tablet at lunch. Again, this is based on research online that has been documented in medical journals and healthcare professionals stating that certain minerals and supplements are better if you split them apart throughout the day. A lot of us can't remember to do that. So if you can't remember to do that, just take the 2 at breakfast. But just know it's going to not only be better on your liver, but it's also going to help your body assimilate them more so that it's even more bioavailable. The other potential issue is if you're a big coffee drinker, you can't take any of these supplements at breakfast. You would have to push those all to about 4 hours after breakfast. That would possibly push it into the lunchtime hour, depending on when you eat lunch. And then you would push your lunchtime supplements to like 2 or 3 hours after lunch. So you're going to have to do a little bit of your own problematic, troublesome troubleshooting for those of you who will not stop drinking coffee. And I'm saying that as a little bit of a mom because like I legitimately want you to stop drinking coffee. Okay. So that's where it's something that if that's stubborn for you and you won't not drink your coffee, be careful because taking natural supplements with coffee will block the absorption of those natural supplements. You can take your pharmaceuticals with coffee all day long. You just want to push, if you drink coffee, then you're going to need to suck down a ton of water after you drink your coffee and then wait minimum of 2 hours, but best to wait 4 hours, then start your supplement regimen. So it's a little bit of a, pushing things around here. Okay, so that's the basics of how I wanted to kind of pull you through on this and help you see some of the benefits of kind of honing in on what's right for you. And it's really, really exciting when you do this and you start looking at the protocols section. Okay, so let's dive into some of your questions. I want to kind of see, so when you talk about coffee and not drinking it for several hours before or after taking supplements, are you also referring to decaf? So decaf is probably worse in my opinion. There is still caffeine in decaf, but think about it from the processing perspective. It's been like fractionally distilled, so to speak, but also there's tons of chemicals. So, I don't know, I'm not a coffee drinker. And I think some people come at me with well, what about like really high quality organic coffee? And I don't know that you can get decaf organic. Again, if you can get decaf organic and you can verify 1000%, that's not a number, but you know what I mean. You can verify for sure that it is organic, because that's one of the biggest industry problems as well, is that organic really doesn't mean much. It's usually not, sadly. So it's up to you. I mean, honestly, it's up to you. I have found that if you have moved to decaf, just stop it because it's not giving you any health benefits. It would be better for you. Like this morning, I had my dandelion tea. And it tastes like coffee. And my son always is thinking I'm drinking coffee. And I always have to remind him, like, would you like to try some of my high antioxidant, really good for you drink that's not coffee? So, I do put all these things in it, and it's really a beautiful drink. And it's something that tastes fantastic. And I used to be a hardcore coffee drinker. So I just encourage you to consider, if you're going to say caffeinated tea, you're going to do green tea or white tea only. If you're going to, what we usually do, we have a whole caffeine detox protocol. I have how the energy protocol has some ideas in there. The guarana, I use that. I love our YL Vitality Drops Plus Energy because of the guarana extract. And I believe there's green tea extract in there as well. And then every once in a while, I know they're out of stock right now, but they'll be back in soon, I'm sure, is our Ninja Nitros. That's excellent as well. So those, if you kind of need to have a little bit of edge that kind of can be taken off every once in a while because you need a little bit of extra, go for that and think green tea, white tea. Don't do black tea. Get out of your coffee rut, get out of the decaf rut, and find something that's really good. So we like Dandy Blend, really good, or Ticino. And recently I've been doing coffee, like steeping. I don't have a coffee maker, but I have one of those things that is really fine, and you can put it in there and it just drips, a dripper. The Ticino hazelnut one is really tasty. And, I'm sure that's probably not the best thing for you, but Ticino is excellent. Dandy Blend is by far my favorite, and I ran out, so that's why I had that. So Amazon's shipping me my Dandy Blend, should be here, I think, today or tomorrow. So gotta love Amazon Prime. But yeah, Ticino is good, and I get it on Amazon, so it's all good. You don't freeze Life 9, you just put it in the refrigerator. So I don't know where that came from, but yeah, I was talking about freezing capsules of essential oils if you're taking a bunch. Yeah, caffeine-free teas, like herbal teas, are excellent. So if you like those, great. But I think the question here is like, how do I get a little extra energy? And that's where we have products through Young Living that are really good. I think our sleek tea is one of the best teas. I have it. I don't take it very often because I kind of save it. It's one of my favorite things to drink. It's a little pricey. So when I make it in like 4-packs. So I'll take one tea bag and it makes 4 cups of tea. And I usually make that in the summertime. It has, I think it's the green tea and white tea or something in there that's really good for you. And I put it in the refrigerator and I have this yummy, yummy drink. And this is new to us this year, this Mineral Magic. So I'm going to be making the sweet tea, and it doesn't make any sense, right? I'm using it with ice. I should probably just have the tea in there. But I thought about that this morning. Like I could make a batch of our sleek tea and put it in the fridge and do my Mineral Magic drink with that. So really good. Yeah, and if you're opposed to stevia, just don't do the Vitality drops, and you would possibly do green tea. I think, oh, what is it like? And some of you are opposed to xylitol as well, but you can get natural, like 1-to-1. I forget what it was. I was just reading about it yesterday. It's like a cooking sugar that is 1-to-1. It's not agave, it's the other one. I'll have to look it up and tell you guys. Some of you might know. But yeah, find a sweetener maybe that you want and you like, and that's totally up to you. I don't know if it's monk fruit. That's a good potential. It was something specific that was on Dr. Gundry's site. I was kind of reading through all of his recommendations. If you go to Dr. Gundry's site, just because we got into this discussion about, I talk about lectins every once in a while. I don't follow him religiously, but I just posted a mean green drink that is based off of his drink loosely and added some things like mineral essence and other things in there. But the question came up of like, what if I don't like this? Can I do this? And like they're editing this drink like crazy. And I'm like, well, you could put some cashews in there. And then it went crazy from there because people were like, well, that's on his no list. And I eat cashews all the time. There are lectins in cashews. So I think like pecans, however you want to say it, have no lectins in them. But and almonds have to have the skins removed, that kind of thing. Whereas if you get into moving down the list, there was some sugar on there that he had that I thought, oh, that's interesting. I don't use table sugar. I don't put it in my drinks. I have been known to put a scoop of chocolate flavored, what is that stuff called? The, from Costco, you guys know, the Vita Proteins collagen mix, because it makes it taste like a really yummy, I don't know, frappuccino or whatever that is. So again, we have to kind of consider, some of you are probably like rolling your eyes thinking like, that's not the healthiest thing either. It's collagen. I'm using I'm using my Agile Ease, but there's things that to me, it's like, okay, I'm not drinking a full blown coffee. I'm drinking something that is super healthy for me with the dandelion in it, plus some collagen. That flavor is important if you guys want to have certain flavors in there. I'll even put some fulvic acid in there sometimes, right? Extra minerals. So there's things that you can do and create concoctions based on what you like, but just pay attention. Like if you know the rules, you can break the rules based on your own, what works for you and what doesn't. One of the things for me, and we want to kind of wrap this up because I want to give you guys some time for some questions, is understanding the idea behind sugar and sugar consumption. In the last couple of videos, I've talked about this, but you know, I in our team vitality group, I've listed my little, I have these stupid little keto, and they're not keto, but they are, right? They're called keto cups or something like that. And they have a sugar alcohol in them. Well, sugar alcohols are known to disrupt your digestive system. But again, you know, if you do your research and understand, that's if you're eating like a lot. And I'm having one, maybe two a day. So it's sort of this thing of, one of my biggest issues is chocolate and sugar. I love it. And I've been off of it for a year and a half now. Every once in a while, I'll have like a bundt cake or something, and I can only have about half of it because I can instantly feel all that sugar rush, and it's awful. Gluten-free, right? So bundt cakes has this beautiful gluten-free little mini cupcakes, and they're one of my favorite things. But for my birthday, I'll probably have one, and I probably won't feel great. So I will take a ton of detoxine, right? That will help get rid of that sugar in my body. But that being said, I have a sweet tooth. We all do. Our blood is mostly glucose, so we're gonna crave sugar all the time. And I'm often thinking like, shoot, do I need more minerals in my body? Like, what do I need in my body? Like, I'm always thinking that, but after I eat a salty meal, I just want a palate cleanser with something, you know, sweet. And that is very good. And I never have any stomach issues, and I'm not eating a ton of it. So for me, that's huge success. Because if I didn't have that, you better believe I would be going to the bag of chocolate chips that are in our, you know, that are the milk chocolate, because that's the only kind of chocolate chips my husband will have in cookies. I would go to that bag and take a whole handful and have no problem eating like 5 handfuls once I start. That's the problem. So I feel like if you personally, I have found something that works for me, and I can take a small amount of it, and I sit there and I cherish it. It's so ridiculous. It drives my son crazy. He's like, just eat it. It's this little round cup that I'm just like barely taking bites of. And it takes me probably 10 minutes to eat this. And it's melted on my fingers at this point, but there's nothing in it, right? It's really, I think it's like 70 calories, but there's no sugar because it's all sugar alcohols, and there's nothing cancerous in there. That's a big thing for me. Like Jacob told me the other day, because I asked you all this question, if you could do one thing, and I would love to see your comments in the comment section. If you could do one thing, if you could snap your fingers right now and have one thing gone, because he struggles with acne, and you know, he's a hormonal kid, and I go, if there was one thing that you could eliminate and get rid of right now, because for me it's my belly. Like, I can lose as much weight as possible and I still have that like little pooch, and I don't know how I guess that's exercise. It's core strength. I have terrible core strength. So, but it's like that one thing I would love to get rid of. You want to know what his answer was? This is so funny. It's such a 14-year-old, and I'm like, but that's brilliant. He said, my answer would be that I would never get cancer. I'm like, you don't have cancer. He's like, exactly. I would want to be able to eat things that I know are not good because they're kids. This is his choice, by the way. He could have gum if he wanted to, but he knows that most gums have carcinogens in them. And we've just talked about this. So he's like, nope, I don't want it. And I'm like, you sure? You can have some gum right now. Every once in a while, it's not a big deal. He's like, nope, I don't want it. He's made this choice of like, I don't want to eat carcinogens. So I'm like, okay. So he's like, and then I could have some gum. I was like, really, Jacob? You're so funny. I didn't know that about you. I go, there are gums out there that you know don't have carcinogens in them. He's like, they taste terrible. So I'm like, okay, spoken like a true 14-year-old. So what's great though is once you get off sugar and get off certain things that are sweet. I don't, you know, my mom comes over for coffee, you know, she's like, do you have any coffee? I have coffee that's totally expired, by the way. I have those like coffee packets for her, and it's from probably 5 years ago that are expired, but she'll still drink it. And we don't have sugar in the house. I don't have anything to sweeten it with. I'm like, I don't know, I have maple syrup. That would be terrible in coffee, you know? So that's kind of the thing where it's like, once you get off of it, you really don't have a taste for it anymore. So I encourage you guys on that. So let's open it up for some questions. I want to see your faces if you have a question. We have a few minutes here to answer some more questions. The question came in, how many supplements could you take at once? Depends. Because, you know, we want to look at the bottle and break it up based on when you're supposed to take it. But technically, you could take a bunch based on if they were all multivitamins like Super B, Super C, Super D, those kind of things, Super Cal Plus, the Cardiogize, you could take those. And again, that's why I've split them into 2 servings, because we want to kind of let your body assimilate them best. So what other questions do you guys have? Mineral Magic recipe. 1/2 dropper of, so just a dropper, right? So you fill it as much as it will go and you squirt it in on top of ice. So fill your glass with ice, 1 dropper of mineral essence. And again, that's basically 1/2 dropper. And then 1 squirt of one of the YL Vitality drops plus energy, either one of them. The main YL Vitality drops don't taste as good in this drink. The plus energy have a different flavor profile and they taste better. And then like 1 or 2 drops or up to 3 drops of lime or tangerine. I like the tangerine Vitality better in this than lime. I usually use the lime with the red drink, which tastes really good. And then fill it with water and sip it. And that's the recipe. So yeah. Cool. Any other questions you guys have? We had almost 80 people sign up and we have 33 people on right now. So that's pretty good. So we'll see. I'll have to send the people the replay of this or they can get on another one. How long before Life 9 or after can you take supplements or oils? About 4 hours. So you want to give your body about a 4-hour assimilation period on anything that you take that specifically needs to be taken like away from each other. So Life 9 needs to be taken like at night, just after dinner. So technically you shouldn't be taking any supplements with oils in them. Any other supplements, depending, like Life 9 is not a problem with things like ImmuPro. It would be a problem with Sleep Essence. Technically a problem with Thiamin because Thiamin needs to be taken alone. So Essential Zyme is out of stock. Alternative would be Essential Zymes 4, but Essential Zyme is a very specific enzyme with very specific enzymatic profile. Is that a word? But the enzyme profile is different. So just wait until it gets back in stock and order 2 bottles. So for us, there are certain supplements in my lineup. Jellies, I can't be without. I have a little bit of a panic attack if I am without Jellies or it's coming down to the wire, and because they've been out of stock before, it's been bad. Allerzyme is another one for me that is very important, as is Essential Zymes 4. So I would say those are my top 3 that I freak out about. So I have about 3 months worth as my stock, and I just pay attention to it. So I pay attention to if it's getting low or whatnot, because some months I take more of enzymes than others. So I, like right now I have only 2 bottles of Allerzyme. So I have a little bit of a sweaty palms from that. Like really, it's a big deal and they do go out of stock. And at one point I had to buy off a friend because they were out of stock for a while, and that happens. So give yourself 2 or 3 months of the things you need, I refrigerate all of my supplements, all of them. The only ones I don't is actually Mighty Pro, oddly enough, because you don't need to, because they're individually packaged. But even still, like if I had them somewhere where they were getting a heat on them, that would be bad. So meaning hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. So we used to have a space above our toaster oven, and I thought that's a bad space, right? Because it's kind of warm, then so you got to be careful about where you're putting stuff. But yeah, I have the whole entire top section of my refrigerator. We have shelves, right? So I put a shelf that's kind of smaller. So it's a whole top section is all supplements. And then we have a second refrigerator outside that has like overstock of things, or things that are bigger that don't fit really well. But it's like the top shelf and then the side area and then the side doors. I mean, it's bad. My husband's like, we don't really have any food in here. It's just all supplements. Go out to eat, bro. So that's kind of the funny thing in the house. Don't give Mighty Pro to dogs. Never, ever, ever give Mighty Pro to dogs. That has xylitol in it, and that's bad for dogs. You could give you could stick a Life 9 capsule in their food, and if it's a dog that is a bigger dog, they just don't chew anything and they suck it down. But you can't really sprinkle that on food either. So you have to space out probiotics, detoxime, Thiamin. So no. So probiotics and enzymes can be together. Just know that. Probiotics and digestive enzymes are fine together. Thiamin you would have to take right before bed. Your probiotics, like let's say you were doing a lot of detoxime, you could take that with your probiotics. That's a weird thing. That's one of our supplements you can take with Life 9. And I don't know if enzymes interfere with thyroid and pancreas hormone, but that's what Thiamin is, and it's specific at night before bed. So I personally would take my probiotics and detoxime a couple hours after dinner, and then right before bed, take your Thiamin. So Digest and Cleanse is, we have alternative recipe all over the place. So if you have the second edition of the Supplements Desk Reference, it's in there. Look up Digest and Cleanse, and then you'll see a recipe that's kind of all throughout the book. But you can also go into the Human Body and Essential Oils group on Facebook and type in Digest and Cleanse, and you'll see a recipe for that. If you have a bottle, I think it's, you could basically do 2 to 4 drops of each of the things. It's really 2 drops of each is just the generic recipe in a capsule, and it's pretty close. So let's see, Sulfurzyme, Mighty Pro, no. So Sulfurzyme has prebiotic. So I think you meant prebiotic. It might have auto-corrected for you. You get a lot of prebiotic in your food. When you drink Ningxia Red, you're getting prebiotic. Prebiotic is non-digestible fiber. So it's like eating onions or eating wolfberry puree. So any of that fiber that is non-digestible, those are what is a prebiotic. So inulin, like there's, chicory root type thing, that's not like non-digestible. So you're going through your digestive system, it gets down into your intestinal tract and it doesn't digest you, and it's why you have poop. Okay, so this is the interesting thing of it. It's like that non-digestible fiber, but that is what your probiotics feed off of. So usually, I know there's this whole like, everybody needs prebiotics. And I think I kind of giggle at that because you get enough in your diet, usually. Some people don't, but yeah, Mighty Pro and Sulfurzyme powder both have prebiotic in them. So, and you can't get enough prebiotic. So yeah. Any other questions? I'm seeing a lot on the side here. You're welcome to unmute and just start talking. What did I miss one? Let me see.
Can you hear me?
Oh, mineral essence, sublingual. I can barely hear you. You can just like maybe move closer to your computer.
Well, I'm driving, so that's
Oh, okay.
formula. What's better, taking that or all the vitamins separately?
Oh, Master Formula. So yeah, as an all-in-one, it's excellent. If you find that you're taking like, and again, I'm gonna be loose here, but calcium, vitamin C, D, B, like all the B vitamins, all the main like letter vitamins, plus you're taking, say, multi-greens, you could technically eliminate all of that and just take Master Formula. The only thing I would say maybe you would add to Master Formula out of those I just listed that you could take out would be Super Cal Plus, because Master Formula has isolated calcium, which I feel that Super Cal Plus is a better delivery system. It's a better method. It's a more bioavailable whole food source calcium with all the yummy minerals that you need. Master Formula is excellent. I've taken it in different times of my life for an extended period of time, and it's very good. And then I kind of take a break from it and start taking individual supplements. So part of that too is undulating. It's kind of not and some of you are so regimented and you just want to stay on a regimen. That's why doing a test like this and coming back every few months to see kind of where you're at, how you're feeling, what you might want to change and work on is an important practice to get into, because it's not a set it and forget it. You guys aren't computers. Your body is constantly going through a state of homeostasis. And if we're thinking I'm a set it and forget it kind of person, that might be why you're having health problems, because your body's like screaming at you to make a change and you're not making a change. So kind of a little bit of a thing there. Would you take it if you have to go to the bathroom after you eat it? So take what? What are we talking about there? Let me see. Cool. I'll wait and see if she has an answer to what she's talking about there. Full-blown osteoporosis from a nerve problem caused from surgery. I love super vitamin D and Super Cal Plus, but they were not enough to improve my blood work. Did you take dosing on it, or did you just take the recommended dose there? So I recommend those who know they need calcium and vitamin D to check your labs for sure. And that might also be something where you're needing specific injections from your doctor, or specific something that they're having you take that is different. So absolutely. And that's why this test is giving you generals, and some of you have a different, more aggressive spectrum than the average person, which means you have to be your own best advocate. I don't know how many times I have, tell you guys, absolutely be your own best advocate. And if you're not being your own best advocate, then that might be the reason. I look at, and I'm just going to bring my mom into this. I look at her, she's not her own best advocate. She's not. She wants somebody to tell her what to do, and she wants whoever's telling her what to do to tell her the easy path. Every time we talk, she knows what she needs to do, but she's not willing to do it because it's too hard. And so she just will take pills, and she just keeps taking pills, and it's fine, right? It's manageable, and it's what's fine for her. But then, she gets into a rut and starts complaining about this and that. And it's okay. She's on her own path. I can't push her or make her do anything. We joke about my husband. I can't push him to do anything he doesn't want to do. He's a hard-headed mule. Like that guy, that man, like, I'm like, who you live with, right? Like, I could totally whip you into shape. He still has sleep issues. He comes to bed at 3 a.m. He's had what is it called? Non-24 or whatever that is, where because he's had a whole life of working the graveyard shift. And it's been 5 or 6 years that he hasn't had to work the graveyard shift, but his body is still on that system. And he, that I could help you with that. No, I'm good. Can I help you get off your sugar addiction? No, I'm good. Can I help you maybe not have to take those 2 pills that are, not great for you? No, I'm good. He takes his medications, and he knows that that's as far as he'll go. When the doctor has prescribed other medications, he's drawn the line, and then he's asked me, okay, what do I need to do to not take that? That's his life. It's his method, and he knows he can come to me, but it is what it is. Okay, so Immupro doesn't cause reflux unless you are having an allergic reaction to possibly strawberries. There are things in it, mushrooms, that you might be allergic to. So you need to check the labels. And I find it's interesting that some of us don't check labels. So check to see if you are having if you're having reflux. It might not be Immupro. It might be based on what you're eating. I don't know. But mushrooms and strawberries are two things some people have a problem with and they didn't know was in Immupro, and they're like, oh, that's why. So check the label, see if there's something in there. I prefer Agiles. I take sulfurzyme as well. So I'll tell you my little story here. I take Agiles for sure. Like that, I can't not take. And the other day I forgot one night, and I told my husband, I totally spaced last night and forgot, because I can feel it. I feel it the next day if I don't take it. Taking Agiles at night is more beneficial for me. I have found my body knocks out the pain completely if I take it at night. If I take it in the day, it's okay, but I still can feel an edge of joint pain. So for me, it's like a no-brainer then. So if I don't ever have any pain at all during the day because of my joints or inflammation, if I take Agiles at night, great. Sulfurzyme, I was taking a lot and realized I was getting really itchy, and I couldn't figure out why. And I started doing some research on MSM and found that if you are taking too much MSM, that is a potential side effect. It's harmless, but I don't like it being itchy. And I'm talking like itchy to where I will scratch my skin off because I'm kind of aggressive. So I can take sulfurzyme, but usually only once a day. And sometimes I just don't, because I feel like I'm doing okay. I don't need it. And then sometimes I feel like I need it. And I just listen to my body. But it doesn't do anything super extra for me personally. But when I feel like I need to help my liver and clean that out, I will take it. And I'll take the red drink. And usually that's when I take it. I use it in the red drink. For my son, it helps his acne. So that's a huge thing for him. Whereas for me, I don't have any acne anymore, and I don't see that being an issue. So I personally feel like that's where being your own best advocate is important. Not everyone should be on everything all the time. And I think some people will teach you that. Some people will go and say, hey, everybody's taking this. Everyone loves this. You should be on it too. I disagree with that methodology of training. I think we need to really get into customization. And that's what the mywellmap.com is for. It's to help you customize your experience of what you need. And yes, it might be that you need to be on that red drink every day, and you might feel incredible on that red drink. Sometimes I drink the red drink without sulfurzyme because I just want to have a nice extra tall glass of Ninja Red with water. Like I water it down, and I'll put some essential oil in there. It's fantastic. So it is what it is. And I hope that that's been helpful to you guys. I hope this class has been helpful. We have been on a little bit longer than normal. We're doing a wellness mapping training for my Ask Jen members. We have, I think, 15 people in that class next, and that starts in 10 minutes. We do smaller group training sessions and specific, like not one-on-one, but it is sort of one-on-one when we get into things, especially on Monday nights. We have a lot of fun on Monday nights. So if you're not, we've got several of them on here today. If you're not involved in any of my things, there's several ways you can get involved. One is just by doing the $20 a month, and that is just giving you access to our Monday night Zooms and all of the archives of those, which is a lot. But that's fun. That's where we actually get into just fire hosing you with all of your questions. You basically get all of your questions answered. You pre-ask your questions and then I answer them all. And at the end, we have open discussion time where people actually do unmute and we talk. And then the second tier would be getting into Team Vitality, which means it gives you access to the Monday nights, and it gives you access to the online Team Vitality group, which is like daily. So like anytime you have a question, there's constant people asking questions and we're answering, and it's an active group. That is plus the, I don't know, 4 years of archives in there. That is if you pay all up front. So it's $240, gets you those both. The other tier is, excuse me, is the Ask Jen program. And that is part of the training, wellness mapping training. And you get my cell phone number to be able to text me questions if you have them, and you get other things. So we do other things together. So plus all the things. Plus you get access to like all the things, meaning Vitality Lifestyle Coaching Program and all of my online content. So it's kind of a tsunami, if you will, for lack of a better word today, of information comes at you. So if you are wanting to dive in full-fledged, if you have a team that you want to help train, the Ask Jen program is best for you. So there's 3 different tiers. You can go to vitalityedu.com and just look up the different classes available to you, and you'll see the Ask Jen program. There's a monthly option, and then there's a pay all at once that gives you a pretty good discount. So just up to you. Any of them that you join, though, I encourage you to read the welcome post so that you know where to start and what to do, because I don't micromanage. Be aware of that. I don't micromanage any of you guys. Once you join, I plug you in. And then I expect you to come on the calls. I expect you to watch the replays. I expect you to comment so I can see your face and see your, questions and kind of develop that relationship. I do have some wallflowers that just sit and listen, but the more it's fun, the more people I have relationships with. Like Susan is part of my Roots and Fruits group. She's a main leader in a different group of mine, and so I have a completely different relationship with her. She gets to hang out with me on different levels for different things because she's gotten involved in all the things. So and I see Heather and Diane all the time and a bunch of you guys. So I thank you guys for being here. I don't see all the faces. I see a lot of names, which is totally okay to do, but I love always seeing your faces. I see Marge's face is good and all the good things. So you can all just say hello. Oh, we have Bob here. I love it when we have a man on. So thanks for hanging out with us, Bob. That's awesome. He's just hanging out in his lazy boy chair. That's good stuff. All right, so have a blessed day. I will share online. I usually let you know in the Facebook group first. So if you're not in that group, or if your friends aren't in that group, put them in that group. That's usually where I make my announcements. I did not email this out to anyone. So this was not meaning you signed up for it and got kind of a reminder emails, but I didn't email this out. So sometimes things happen and you wouldn't know about them unless you check the Facebook group. So do know that I use that as my main method of communication, because I feel like anyone in Facebook who's paying attention is probably my kind of person. I'm still on Facebook. I know a lot of people aren't, but it is good. So let me know if you guys have any questions moving forward, and feel free to email me at jen@31oils.com. I can't get into diagnostic or personal usage question advice, so please know that. That only happens if you are in the Monday night call. So if you want to join that, it's, like I said, $20 a month for your basic entry. All right, so I'm glad you guys had fun, and we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Have a great day.
You guys too. Have a great day. Thanks so
Bye,
much.
Jen.
Have fun in Germany. I love it.
Thank you, Jen. To see you soon.
You're welcome. Take care.